The question I've received today is, what is trauma? I think we have a tendency to presume that the term trauma is only reserved for that which we perceive to be really, really bad, like devastating accidents or war or earthquakes and things that we see on the news. And we tend to avoid the word trauma for what seems like minor issues, our issues. For example, a personal example, my mother left our family home when I was just 7 years old. I had two sisters who were 13 and 11 at the time. And after my mother left, my father fell apart emotionally, and us girls were left to fend for ourselves. So as you can imagine, this was quite a shock. But no one ever talked to us about it. It was just swept under the rug, and we were supposed to keep calm and carry on, as we say in England. For 30 years, I totally dismissed the fact that our mother had basically abandoned us. If someone said to me, "Oh, that's awful," I would respond with, "No, not really, it was fine. It didn't really bother us because, that's all we knew." I couldn't admit, or more like I didn't realize, that that childhood event had affected my entire life. Not until I started dabbling in psychology and neurology did I even consider that was a traumatic event in my childhood. It didn't even occur to me. But after speaking with you guys and learning so much from you, I can now finally admit and understand that that event was a traumatic event. And now I can talk about it and heal the effects of that trauma. So back to the question. Can you tell us what trauma is and what types of events can cause it?
Hi, Angela. The question you're asking is a really good one, and your example is particularly pertinent, and we'll be talking about, I want to be talking about some of the reasons why in some of our other video questions. But basically, trauma is any event, psychological or physical, that leaves the person with a sense of insecurity or feeling unsafe in some way. And what's critical about that definition is that it is not relevant to what it looks like on the outside. It's completely subjective. And so if a person is telling you that they had a traumatic event, they experienced that traumatic event, it was traumatic for them, whether it would have been traumatic for you or not. And so that's an important piece to be putting into the basket in terms of understanding trauma. It's specific and subjective to the survivor, but it's any situation that can make a person feel unsafe or insecure.
I very much agree with Tona's response to this question, and I would just add a little bit more of the following. I would sort of define trauma definitely as a subjective experience for the person who is experiencing it and personal. But I would also look at it as something, it can be any event basically that shatters or shifts or really changes the person's sort of sense of the world or worldview or their understanding about like the way that the world works. So in the example that you gave, Angela, maybe your worldview as a 7-year-old was that mom stays home, or mom is with us, mom loves us, mom cares for us. And after she left, it shattered your assumptions about what the rules were around what mom does or doesn't do, or why she's there and why she's not. And you have to sort of shift or adjust your understanding of the world somehow to incorporate what has happened or what this new information is or this new event. So trauma can definitely come up or result for people whenever there's a significant shift to your understanding about how the world works.